This video is part 4 of 5 in a series of videos on advertising and the promotion industry. Now, in this talk we want to deal with external facilitators and talk about the role of external facilitators in the whole process of advertising and promotion. External facilitators are suppliers who offer specialist services and skills to advertising agencies. So we see the agencies as buyers of specialist services and skills. So there is another layer of service that's involved in the whole process of advertising and promotion. In this case, the advertising agencies buy in specialist service and skills as and when required. Marketing and advertising research companies could be one major area that could constitute a facilitator, an external facilitator for the industry. It's important that the industry has access to what's happening within the marketplace. It has to have research and it has to have good knowledge of the advertising industry itself and the current trends and fashions and movements within the advertising and promotions industry, but also market research to see how customers and customer requirements are changing and to see how customers are accessing information and accessing advertisements, accessing sources that could be used by the industry. So for example, are customers using online facilities more, and as a consequence that could be the platform to be used, or is television holding its own? Are they using radio, national press, magazines? What sort of magazines? So all of this is a function of the research activities of the external facilitators. We've also got consultants, and consultants have an expertise in the area. These are specialists who have made special studies and long-term researches within the area and have accumulated knowledge of different practices and different ways about problem solving within the area. So they're an invaluable source of support. And also production facilitators. These are facilitators who know how to produce. They know production companies. They know the requirements of companies that need specialists, production specialists, say, to supply particular products. So if a company is intent upon, for example, making a promotional video, they will need to have access to an appropriate company. And the production facilitators will know about these. It's also important that communications organizations be seen as external facilitators. Communications organizations are good means of understanding how the communications networks, both within the industry and outside of the industry, work. It's important to understand how the customer is accessing the information, internet and television and so on, as I said earlier, but also how is the industry itself configured and what are the communications channels within the industry. So communications organizations may be seen as these are facilitators who have expert knowledge of communication systems within the industry. For example, agents talking to clients, agents talking to facilitators, different types of facilitators, different types of companies who are working within the industry, but also communications with customers and looking at how the customers are using different communications channels. So it's quite a big brief, that one. Now, marketing and advertising research companies to start. Well, these are specialist organizations offering advice and assistance on market research. It's very important that clients know who are likely to access their publicity material, who's likely to turn up given a given channel. So, for example, if the publicity is published in a national newspaper, then who's likely to be the reader? What sort of person is likely to be the reader? And to what extent does the product or service being offered match the particular profile of user, of in this case, of reader of that particular newspaper? So it's a question of marrying up the different ends, specialist organizations offering advice and assistance on market research. And the only way, of course, that companies will know what the customers want and the appropriateness of different advertising channels is by conducting market research. And so to that end, market research institutes or institutions are very important in facilitating the advertising and promotions industry. They are the ones who can indicate the most appropriate channels to be used. The marketing and advertising research companies or organizations, they can be approached to conduct market research as well. They can set up focus groups and surveys and questionnaires and so on. So the market research can be purchased. The market research agencies can be given a brief, and in return, obviously, for a fee, they will conduct the research on behalf of the advertising and promotions industry or some agency within that industry, or indeed the clients themselves. It's important that the clients know that their expenditure is being productive, it's been spent well, and it'll only be spent well if it hits precisely the target that they intended. And to do that, they must determine the target. They must know the extent of the target, how many will be affected, and what's the likely impact of the investment in terms of the development of advertising and promotion material, and what's the return on that? What will they get back if they engage in this? And market research is an important facilitator of this whole process by shedding light on the extent of the market, the likely returns, who will most likely access the material, what is the best channels to use in terms of marketing and promotions, and so on. The marketing and advertising research companies also collect the data. Once the research has been commissioned, they collect the data and they can review campaigns and look at the success of the campaigns. So the market research companies can do a before and after. Before the campaign, what was the awareness of the product amongst a certain group of customers or consumers, and after the campaign. And that gives a measure of the effectiveness of the campaign. So it's important to appreciate the importance of marketing research in this context. Now, consultants. Well, consultants offer specialist advice and guidance on matters concerning advertising and planning. As I said earlier, these are generally people who have a lot of experience in the business. They are familiar with a lot of the pitfalls, they're familiar with the required processes that need to be undertaken. They are experts in the area. They provide support on the most appropriate marketing mix and tailor campaigns for clients. So they can offer detailed advice on how to develop the advertising and promotion material, how to develop it, and how to target that at a particular customer base. so that it's most effective. And they can do this because of their experience and because they have good insights into the whole business of advertising and promotion. Agencies can approach consultants for a range of issues in marketing communications. It can be about the actual promotion material itself, its appropriateness, its style, its content. It can approach the consultants about the target market, the likely target market, the effects it will have on that particular market, the channel of communication, national press, television, internet, or whatever. So the consultants can be consulted on almost any issue, and the chances are they'll have an opinion, and that opinion will be based on their extensive experience. The production facilitators, well, agencies rely heavily on production facilitators. They offer services before and during the production process. It's important to see the agencies as, in a sense, buyers of services that are within the advertising and promotions industry, but these are specialist services. It's similar to the agents taking on the activity on behalf of a client and then outsourcing part of it to others who have particular expertise. And in this case, let's say production facilitators, people who can bring a lot of experience and technology and background into producing the material that's required. Media and advertising requires specialist expertise. For example, television and radio advertisements require very specialists, a great deal of understanding of the technicalities of what's required and how to present it in those particular media. For example, there's all sorts of issues about printing and graphics and photographers and art and illustrations. All of them very specialist areas, and all of them need to be brought together to some extent and considered. There's camera operating for videos and audio and lighting technicians, all of them specialists. Sets, stages, equipment, crew, actors, dancers, models. So the production facilitators know where to get this set of experts and get them involved, bring them in, and they're professional. They can go about it in a very professional manner and deliver the product, and they can do it very efficiently. They've done it many times. This is their job. This is what they do. So they have a very deep understanding of the requirements. Communication organizations. Well, communication organizations provide services for advertisers to communicate with their audiences. Now, it's important that the advertisers manage to communicate with their audiences, manage to make a connection with their audiences. Otherwise, their advertisements and their efforts will be ignored. They must make an impact. If they don't make an impact, the whole exercise has been a waste of time and resources. So it's important that the communications organizations provide services for advertisers to communicate with their audiences. They're able to bridge the divide between the producers on the one side of the material and the audiences, the customers on the other side. So they may be able to provide links, for example, and the customers are able to click a link and send a message and give some comments and some feedback. And the communications organizations may reward the feedback, give them some reward for participating, but the communications organizations know how to deal with customers and try to encourage them to be involved. Because active customers who actively engage with the advertisements and the efforts of the advertising agencies, these are ones to be cultivated because they can give valuable feedback about the whole process. Generally speaking, the communications organisation offers services that are not available by other advertisers. These are again specialists who are able to contact customers, get their reactions, deal with them. They're able to communicate also within the industry, between different layers within the industry. They're able to communicate with the customers, as I said. They're able to bridge the divide between the customers and the agents, so that the efforts of the agencies in developing campaigns is most appropriate for that particular set of customers. So there is feedback, there is contact, there's a bridge between them, and that can guide the marketing effort and the advertising effort. They focus on public relations, direct marketing, and sales promotion specialists. They're very good at presenting a positive slant on the advertisement. They're very good at representing the business and portraying the best side of the business and explaining the business to the customers. They're able to deal with the customers directly and deal with issues raised by the customers. They're able to address the issues and, in a sense, move on with a satisfied customer base and satisfied clients on the other side. So these are some more of the organizations and methods deployed by the advertising and promotions industry. External facilitators are important sources of expertise that are brought in to help in the delivery of successful campaigns. That's the source that's used in the preparation of this class. But that's all we're going to deal with here, so let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.